I do enjoy the training. You're pushing your body to the absolute limit. Every week you do have to push your body to the point where you're producing lactic acid and you're in pain. There's something sickly satisfying from getting your body to that point. And I mean, training for the poor gives that to me. I walk away knowing I've trained super hard. One of the most effective track sessions, I think, for 400 runners is 6 300s. It's deceiving because you're running a little below your maximum, but it's enough to produce lactic as the session goes on. No time like the present. I look forward to the session because I know it's going to get me those results over the last 100. But the whole day I'll have anxiety because I know I'm like literally it feels like you're going to your death. It's a constant internal battle with yourself. Oh God. You're just constantly trying to negotiate with yourself and tell yourself it's not so bad. It's going to be okay. You're going to survive it. There's some lollies at the end of the session. It's great. The four's a love-hate. When it goes good, it goes good. When it goes bad, it goes bad.
Take the dip on the line, 51.93.
There's so many different ways you can run it too. You can either go out really hard and hold on, or you can go out conservative and come home strong. I like that challenge of trying to nail it and having that chance to sit on somebody's shoulder and then run them down in the home straight.
I could just tell straight away that she was driven and knows what she wants.
It's either really deadly or it's not so flash.
Having been quite successful as a junior and knowing what it took to get there, then I knew what it took to get back. Ultimately, I wanted to represent Australia again. I didn't want to be somebody who peaked as a junior.
It's a bit like unfinished business, haven't quite finished that chapter.
I feel like I still have a point to prove to myself, and ultimately that's what motivates me. Cann's an interesting place. I mean, its population has waxed and waned over the years, but generally right now it's roughly 200 people, so you've got your pub, your corner store, a couple of petrol stations. In terms of sport, we always have to sort of travel to the next towns, whether it's Orbost to the left or Eden to the right, in order to play footy or do athletics or play tennis. So it's definitely what you call timber country, a lot of bushland and farming communities. I think it was our norm, to be honest. I didn't know any different, so I thought it was normal travelling 70 k's or however many hours to get to sport. I feel really lucky that this is our backyard and that we can come here and that this is our country and that we get to look after it.
Well, we've only driven 20 minutes out the road from Cann River, and you'd think we're in the middle of nowhere really. I reckon when I was a kid back then I was like, yeah, Ange had that X factor. If she didn't win a race or there was somewhere that she had room to improve, and it just made her more hungry.
My recollection in Brisbane at Nationals, I think you made your first finals, picked up a silver or something there. AA used to pin all these little pictures of the athletes on the board, and you could go out the back and either order them or... I think that's the first time she experienced some little bit of trauma when the young girl next to her said, "You don't belong here that time, what are you doing on the track?" Angie told me a little bit later, but she was fine. But she was only young, so...
How did you handle that moment when Ange told you about that?
Kind of said, be prepared. This is just the start.
I'm a Monero Ngarigo woman and Yuin woman. I have cultural connections to Canberra, the South Coast, and La Perouse in Sydney. So technically I'm a saltwater woman.
She wasn't guided or taught. They lived it. It was lived experience. We go camping, fishing, and they have their family around, and they learn about their identity. But Angie took it out to the track as best she could at the time. Hey.
My Aboriginal flag towel, I always take that everywhere with me. It is quite an individual sport, and at times your coach isn't able to come with you. And so I have my flag there and they kind of know where to find me. And obviously, yeah, I'm very proud of my heritage, so it's always really, really exciting to represent who you are. This is not Canberra, is it? It's, you know, stating the obvious, but I guess that's what I've had to get used to, is the fact that I spend a lot of my time now commuting, and I did spend a lot of time in Canberra, like travelling back to Victoria here and there, but it's nothing like this.
I've been here permanently since March. It's a nice change, very different, very far from home. I'm not used to being 2 states away from Victoria. But yeah, enjoying it so far. So I do my training sessions in the morning and then I rush straight to work and log in online at home, but sometimes it feels like I'm working at 50% capacity, and talk to a lot of other female athletes, and especially female athletes who do team sport.
It's a real challenge for a lot of female athletes who don't have the income coming in to allow that training to be their #1 priority. If that training session is the one focus for your day, everything you do leads up to that being the most successful thing you do that day. I think when an athlete has to manage a full-time training load and also supplement their income or study, those other things drain energy in terms of physical energy, but also the mental energy from what it takes to be the very best athlete you can be.
Keep thinking about sessions as just money in the bank, and eventually when I come to compete, can withdraw. The way I approach training is just making those deposits.
Hey, stand up guy, boom, 10 toes. Big body pull up in a Range Rover. I can change the whole game when I say so. I pull up, shut it down, yeah, they know. Running this game ain't a thing for me. I never switched up, no change in me. The only thing changing this season, you go against me, then you know that you tweaking, okay? Cause baby, I'm him, I be on 10. 2-stepping in the party, I do not dance. Watch how I move, make it look easy. Counting up wins, that's part of the plan. Blackmail, taking up my haters a CC. That can't fail, all my victories will repeat. I'm knee deep, need a dub, best to seat me. I'm too sick, yeah, I know I make it look easy, 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 eat, yeah. Tell them I try to play me. They can never count me out, they can never count me out, I know. They can never count me out, they can never count me out, I know I make it look easy.
Mum moved my brother and I up to Canberra from Cann River in 2001. Mum wanted to go back and study at uni, so she was studying law full time. I obviously said I want to do athletics and find a coach, and I guess it was a good time while I started high school. I was 16, 17 when I first started training at the AIS. I wasn't on scholarship, but I was there as a trial athlete. It wasn't until 2009 I got a full scholarship as a full-time athlete at the AIS, and I was there for roughly 2 years. To be honest, there was a lot of support there, but it was the structure and rigidity of the place that I really struggled with. There wasn't really the setups to have visitors either, and it was the first time living away from my mum and my brother. I was studying a Bachelor of Arts Science, so I was majoring in archaeology and majoring in human physiology. I kind of thrived at uni for the first year, I think, learning all these new fascinating things, and especially things I wanted to learn about.
She had that competitiveness, bucket loads of it, not just in sport, in learning and life itself. Her big sister played a big part in taking her from A to B, if that's what she wanted to do.
It was hard with the AAS because I kind of felt like I had no autonomy over my body anymore. At some point one of my ovaries also stopped working, and so yeah, I went on to pill to try and control that, but that was actually just a symptom that the training load was too heavy. I had that type of personality that even if I was breaking down and I was exhausted, I'd still turn up and do it. I would literally flog myself. I always thought if you put the hard work in, you'll get the results, but you know, training too hard and breaking down, you're not going to get any results. A consistent athlete is a successful athlete, and I kind of didn't understand that as a kid. But I think it was roughly 2009, it would have been around 19, 20, and it just sort of just built and got worse and worse over time, yeah. As it progressively got worse to the point where I was like, I can't sprint on it, then it was diagnosed as a stress fracture. After rehab, the pain hadn't gone. I got told that sometimes when you're chronically injured, or you have been, your brain still sometimes sends signals down to your body telling you that that part's still injured. So I thought maybe it was all in my head.
If you look at women's health as a whole, women's pain isn't taken seriously. You want an athlete to be able to speak to a medical professional and to feel like they're validated and not having to consistently advocate for themselves and challenge this belief in their head that maybe I am making it all up and maybe I should be listening to the person who's telling me it's not real.
Part of me knew that my body wasn't up to it, but to then watch other people run my potential was really kind of heartbreaking. I was not ready to quit, but I just knew that this wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. And also I was pretty mentally broken anyway. It wasn't enjoyable because when I was at the AS, my older sister passed away. It was quite sudden. It wasn't expected. She was 27 at the time. Essentially, it was an overdose. Yeah, but it was a shock because she'd been going so well. She'd done rehab and she was in a really good space. Yeah, it was the night of her birthday, so even more of a shock. I think I would have been one of the last people to send her a message before she passed away. Yeah, so it was hard because getting that call at 7 a.m. in the morning, yeah, I actually thought it was my pop who'd passed away because he'd had cancer at the time. So yeah, I don't know, it was just hard because she was so young and full of life.
There was no recognition that she'd had family loss and grief and how it had affected her wellness. It was at odds with our family and our culture where we would freely carry loved ones that have deceased and close to us. We carried them with us every day. It took away a big part of who she was, and that impacted on her training and running ability.
The day I got told my sister died, and I just sat there in the AS halls and howled, but then, you know, within a few weeks I had to bounce back and get back to business because it happened in December and I had to compete in January. I just was like, I just can't do it mentally, emotionally, physically, I just can't do this anymore. And so, yeah, I was let go from the AS.
If you could go back and tell young Angie anything, whether it's advice or what would you tell young Angie at that point in her life?
Yeah, gosh, yeah, it's interesting because I was at a talk and speaking to some high school kids at Orbost a few years back about my journey, and one kid was pretty gnarly and they asked me, what's your biggest regret? And I was like, oh gosh, that's a really deep question. And my biggest regret was that I just didn't give myself the permission to go home and grieve. I would have said, you're okay, you don't have to prove anything, you're good enough. I would have let that girl go home to her family. But I don't know why I'm crying. I guess it still really hurts because I just wish I was there for myself in a better capacity. Yeah, just a lot of pain. You know, I was still adamant that I was going to do athletics, even if it wasn't at the AS or with a high performance coach. But it was still evident that there was something wrong with my foot. I'd seen a few sports doctors outside of the AS as well, and they'd misdiagnosed my foot. I keep thinking why, and I think it's because of that high pain threshold. You shouldn't be able to do what you can with that amount of damage. And at that point I was just desperate. I was like, I just want to find someone who seems like the real deal and they know what they're doing and they know what they're talking about. My friend actually had recommended Dr. Porter. He's the guru, he's the one you want to go to.
When I met her, I did explain to her that without fixing the fracture, her running career would be over. There's just no way that she was going to compete at a top level.
He just asked me about my symptoms. He pressed around on the spot a few times, done a few tests, and it's pretty much like, yeah, so we're going to operate next month.
With the condition she had, a navicular stress fracture, it's historically is quite a slow diagnosis. If it's not picked up in the early stages and it goes on to what's called a non-union, where the bone is given up trying to heal, the surgery for it becomes more difficult, the rehab is more difficult, everything is prolonged.
I think most people would feel quite distressed hearing that they're still injured, but I actually felt elated because I was like, I'm not crazy. I thought I would have to get some bone taken from my hip to replace the dead bone in my navicular, but thankfully I only needed bone from my heel.
You've got to take out the part of the bone which is not healing. Then you have to bone graft it, so you use bone marrow from another part of the patient's body to stimulate healing, and then compress the fracture by putting a screw across it, which actually compresses the fracture and stabilizes it so that it can now heal.
Everything was looking really positive, like a lot more positive than I would have thought. Maybe I won't be able to get back to the level I was, but at least I'd be able to play some social sport, or I could run again. That'd be awesome, I can run.
Some people realize you've got one chance at life, and if you're thrown any opportunity, you have to grasp it, and she would grasp it with two hands and hang on for dear life.
It was just keeping that big picture in mind. If I do this work, it'll get me back to where I was.
I think it was about 2 years from operating till she got back to competition. Things were going really well, and I remember when she came into me and she said, I think I've got the same problem on the other side.
I think we were both surprised by the fracture, and that the fracture went across and down, but I knew the navicular had gone on the other foot.
The clock was ticking, but with her other side there was no delay in intervening. I think both she and I knew what we were going to do.
That took another 12 months, so it was quite a long process. I think all up it would have been 6 or 7 years out of the sport, just doing cross training and trying to fix my feet.
From my own experience, there's certain people, they're professional from the minute they walk into the gym. They're applied from then until when they leave the gym, and that's every single training session. So she was like that, and would also take advice and listen to every precise bit of advice she was given. And I knew she'd follow that and wouldn't push it, and just didn't lose sight of the long-term goal being to get to the Olympics.
I had a point to prove, but also, yeah, there was a lot of freedom. I was running for myself. I can do it because it made me happy. I could do it because I was trying to prove to myself that I was the athlete I wanted to be. It was one of those days where mentally I had done everything right. I focused on running my own race and staying relaxed and controlled and backing myself and not focusing so much on what my competitor was doing, because I had really good competition in Lara and she'd always been the marquee for hurdle runner for the ACT. It's an intimidating lining up against somebody who's a multiple Olympian, multiple world champs runner across the same event. I was actually quite nervous that day, even though it was an interclub meet. To be honest, if she wasn't there, I don't think I would have switched on as much. I don't think I would have switched into gear. People don't think that you can be at your best at 28, 29, and start breaking your personal best, and I was breaking them in the 1, the 2 and the 4. It had been over a decade between me doing personal best times, and yeah, I guess we were just really happy, just like little kids giggling on the top of the hill. I think my mum was relieved that I wasn't in tears or howling because I'd messed the race up. I think she was just relieved as well, but we were excited because they knew how hard I'd worked. Part of me knew I wasn't going to go down as peaking as a junior or being known as a good junior. And also it was excitement because it then opened up the doors to be able to represent Australia at a senior level again. And that was always my goal, to represent Australia at an open level, not at a junior level. So yeah, I guess elation. You know, all that hard work and that patience that I had, and you know, those years of rehabbing and just sticking at it, and yeah, it was, yeah, relief.